Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jesus here with the Van Bros, and I'm here with my best friend, Marco Amini. Bro, tell us what you did and what you played.
I played Luard. It's my favorite deck ever, and I got top 16 at the BCS in Tampa.
Dude, congratulations. And just to prove you got top 16.
Damn.
There's nothing else to prove. the next thing above that is a playmat, and that's for top 8. But you got top 16 with Luard, and your list is very spicy. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and zoom on down here, and I'll let you explain your cards.
Okay, I guess I'll start with the trigger lineup.
Okay.
I'll go, so I run Purple OT. Purple OT is just the best in this deck because it just heals you one. That's mainly it. Adds a card. Sometimes calling it is good, especially in the early game, because I hit it a couple times in the early game, and calling and giving it 10k, a card 10k is really good, just for the early game rush. So yeah, Purple OT. And 4 heal, and then 4 crit. That's pretty standard. And then what I did differently for my deck was I opted for 7 draw. And I did 7 draw because the way I was looking at the meta, I was expecting to go up against a lot of Levy draws and a lot of Rezael. And those decks, they hit so hard. Actually, let me say this too. And a lot of Varga, and a lot of Bat, and a lot of Odium. Obviously, those are the best decks. And the way I see it, my deck loses to like huge numbers, as does any deck, and early game rush. And all these draws, they help to ease the pain of getting rushed down, because you draw so much more. You know, like hitting a defensive draw is the best thing you can do when you're getting rushed down. And checking draw on your drive checks, checking draws is just good because it draws you into your PGs. And these decks are hitting for so much, I want to just like PG everything. Because I notice like if I'm running regular like 15k guards, I'm always dropping like at least 2 or 3 of them, when I could just be dropping like a PG and maintain more cards in my hand. So that was the idea behind it. It worked really well. I had like always so many cards in hand, and I always had a PG in hand. I would just recycle the PGs like every time. I remember my first round, I probably PG'd the guy like 6 times because of how much I was drawing. Then I'll do my grade 1s. Obviously 4 Ezra's the PG. I mean, every turn, like for my ritual, for free stride, I would just send back 2 Ezra's and just thin out my deck with stride skill to try to, you know, make it as skinny as possible to drive check the draws to draw into the Ezra's. For Owl, he's good. He searches the Luard. You need to run it at 4. The counter charge is good. I run 3 Semius. He's good for building a board. On my first stride, usually I'll go, depending on how my board is looking, I'll go like 1 of him and 1 painkiller. I'm gonna show off the painkiller in a sec. Yeah, or I'll just call 2 of him if I really like, I don't got much going on in my hand. So yeah, he's really solid. 10k booster really helps, especially in early game too. If you're rushing Levy draws, if you get the Ritual 3 pretty early, he gets the 2k, that's not GB. So, you know, his 10k boost can hit over a trigger with a, you know, 10k grade 2. And then 2 painkiller, just Soul Blast draw, feels Ritual, it's good. And then 2 Perius. I ran this at 2 because I was running it at 1. But like I said, in the Levy Dross matchup and the Rezael matchup, I wanted to keep it as fair for me as possible. And this card basically just says like they cannot get that 5th attack off, you know. So it's just a perfect card. And those decks have no retire power, so it's good. Every time I knew like if I didn't kill them that turn, I was like, if I knew I wasn't gonna kill them, I would just honestly stride skill. I'd call down like 1 of these, or in the case of levy draws, sometimes they get like 6 attacks off. I would just call both out. And it would just deter them. They would just have to swing with a really big column instead of going for those 5th and 6th attacks, which I always had the PG for the big attacks. So that's it for grade 1s. Now I'll go grade 2s. Grade 2s, the Gun Cycler Biscotti. I love running this. I think, because I always aim to go second. I think if you ditch this going second, you just like draw 4 cards, draw 3 plus your drive check. It's so good. And she's just good to draw more cards because, you know, you don't use energy, so draw, draw, draw. 3 Daira. She's good too because she's just counterblast, look at the top 5, and most likely add a PG. So this just helps add more PGs. Yeah, you have to run it. And also, I would keep this for against levy draws. The 10K is pretty potent because you always want to play cards that are getting like a lot of power like that to mitigate that Infinity Eyes minus 10K. I only ran 2 Morfessa. Morfessa is good, obviously. She's really good when you have like a lot of open counterblast, but I like to use my counterblast for the utility of the stride skill and the Daira to add the PGs, obviously. So I decided to cut her down. I didn't use her much. I obviously used her a little bit, but she's only good for like ping-ponging like a really solid turn. Like if they're at 5 and stuff, like if you ping-pong with her, yeah. And you can always send her back when you want to do that kill turn, so she's good. 2 Maple. 2's fine because we draw so much that I always had her, and she's great for free stride skill, free. So many times like my board would just get like annihilated by Varga or something, and or just like, you know, it's just late in the game and she's always coming back. Same thing with Leah Fall from the ride deck. So, and by the time like, you know, everything's wiped out, my front row I have like 7 face-up G units, so good. And then 2 Turnar. She's really good. I would always run her in the future. She saved me a lot of times because in this deck we draw so much, we tend to draw our heals and stuff, and I really wanted to maintain like good damage control. So like I didn't want to take unnecessary damage when I had to. So having like a surefire counter charger is just really good. Like if I had like 3 face down damage and I had this in my hand, I knew I wasn't going to take any damage that turn because like I just have this, I can do my Vanguard skill. And then grade 3s, 1 Luard, you have to run it in case of the Drag Strider. And then I ran 3 Solemn Clout. I think he's so good because his ability to get 10K, a Ritual 3, a GB2, is really good against the Levy Dross matchup, like I said. So it's almost, because it's like, you're getting the 10K, they're just taking away the 10K, so it keeps it, you know, it keeps you in the game. I would mainly call off of Drag Driver. I would mainly call this and not the Morfessa, just because of the 10K power. And he hits like, you know, he's always hitting for like at least 28 or 33. He's always hitting for a great number, 43, 48. So it's hard, even for the Levy Dross players, to guard sometimes. So, yeah, and his ability to, when you stride with him, because I always want to go second, to draw a card. Sometimes if these were clogging up my hand, I would just discard all 3 of them to stride and just draw 3 new cards. So, yeah, he's really good too. I really like him at 3. And then I ran Twin Cast for my Regalis piece. It's just tanky. It's very good. And then I ran this. I don't even know what this is called. Mine as Your Country's Foundation. Yeah, I saw this card and I was like, I saw some list like a while ago running this, and I was like, dude, this card stinks. And it still kind of stinks to a certain degree, but in this build where you are drawing so much with all the draw triggers and stuff, you're bound to draw your heals. And this card has saved me so many times where in an event that like, oh, like, you know, I'm getting hit for some huge like 60K column, you know, play this. If I have 3 heals in the drop zone, just discard one of your draws. You know, they're worth nothing basically. and you have like 60k shield right there. So this actually saved my ass a bunch of times. It's a strong card. It's a strong card at 1. It's like the 5th PG almost. So that was my reasoning for running it. And then G Zone, obviously 4 Drag Strider, 4 Drag Driver. I mainly went Drag Driver all game because I think now Drag Strider is a little too slow in terms of like he doesn't scale quick enough. Like you need to be flipping 1 up every turn to be able to compete. So I probably went into him like twice or 3 times throughout the tournament. He's still a great option though. Like if you know, like if you see your opponent damages the Elementary, that's like, okay, you know what I mean? Like they're just on like they're on a timer. So, you know, both are still very solid cards. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Dude, very awesome job and congratulations, Marco Amini.
Thanks, dude.
Honestly, I gotta say, well, during the tournament, I didn't do that well. I went 2-3, I dropped. But watching this man play out the entire tournament was just so gratifying because he's playing his favorite unit. He's been playing Luard since the structure deck came out. That's a lie, since set 11 because I sold them all the Luard cards back in the day. But man, great job. Everybody was super happy to hear that you got up to top 16. Sucks you didn't get to top 8, but I'll be honest, man. You did so awesome.
Thank you, bro. And I have to shout out my boy Ifet. I think that was his name. My round 3 opponent. He knows what he did for me. He's a good guy. So, yeah, he was awesome. Who else was awesome? Peter the Judge. He was awesome. He was like, you know, he was cool. Who else? Oh, man. I don't know his real name, but it was Blastra. He was a dude playing Rezal. He was cool. Everybody I met there was cool. It was a good experience. And yeah, no, I honestly, I didn't think, because I knew Luard was kind of in a tough spot in the meta because of, it's just getting a little old, I think. But, you know, he can still call 2 grade 1s and he can still call whatever from deck. So he's still alright. And I'm still going to keep playing it. So, yeah.
Bro, you know what they say? You can teach old dogs new tricks.